I'll take the drawing and I'll reverse it through it when I do the other thing. But I'll draw out, the basic layout of where things are that are important for me, that I get those things in there. Take that off and you reverse it onto the paper, and I've got it's an etching burnisher, but you can also use a crochet needle. And you just have to remember which side and you just burnish it, and your image comes down. It's not showing up too good, but there's enough of an image there. You can leave it like that if you want, because when the water hits it, it kind of dissipates anyway. Or you can go in and add more detail. I usually go in and just add other things along with it. And then I try and remember to erase certain areas before I paint, but it doesn't always work that way. And then just burnish. It'll save you maybe a lot of time of redrawing and stuff like that. So anyway, that's that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the roof there. Roof. Like I said, I usually go wet into wet, so this is going to be really exciting.
And this is cold press?
This is cold press, 140 pound. Now, like I said, I usually mix these paints and that on the paper. Just have to see if it's wet. So anyway, I'm pretty old school. I use a butcher tray, wide open. I like the colors to mix, and they kind of run together, and you get some really weird colors, but you'll find some place to use it. They're great for shadows and trees, dark areas and trees. And one of my favorite colors I go to is indigo. And it makes great greens, really deep, so you get down in the shadows and the undersides, drop shadows, and you can mix it with cerulean blue, just to give it a little spark, alizarin crimson. It's a great color. But this is an old. Tin roof. Now there's a cave in the roof, so try and get a little darker area right in there. And then I put on a lot of washes and overpaint, so I don't put a real dark colors down right away. I build them up. If you have any questions, just yell them out and I'll try and answer while I'm painting.
Did you buy the car?
Pardon?
Did you buy the car?
No, my dad wouldn't let, okay, there's some rocks here. So you can paint the detail around and paint the shadow side. All of a sudden you've created a rock. And it's just the magic that the painting is kind of painting itself. So if you let the paint do that, you'll end up with these wonderful little surprises and that. And that's the kind of the neat part, I think, of watercolor. There. So.
Yeah, let's get closer.
Okay. Now this side's going to be a lot darker at the end. And the last wash I do will be a red wash over it. It'll look like old paint.
So you believe in glazing?
Yep. Yeah, when I did, my instructor in college was a real stickler for doing things correctly, you know, and which was good.
Is there such a thing as doing things correctly?
Well, following certain
Yeah, right.
certain steps and that. In fact, I got kicked out of the art department 3 years in a row because in the 60s, pop art, and that was real big, and I was going to be a pop artist. Sponges, all used? No, you can leave it there. See that yellow? I had this up against one of my brushes and it dissolved the paint on the handle. So yes, there are chemicals in this. So, you know, because I don't think a little sponge would take the paint off.
Oh,
There it is, right there.
that's Mr. Clean, right?
Yeah.
Is it the one with the soap or without soap?
I don't know, because I took it out of the box and I just been cutting little chunks of it and using it, you know. But then, you know, you blot it up and stuff like that. But just be aware, don't put it in with something you really like, because just sitting there, that only took one day. I put it in my
That's interesting.
my box there with the brushes, and I was going to use it to keep the brushes from bouncing around. And I go, oh, are you kidding me? So, anyway.
Any cords, don't trip over any cords.
This is what I'm talking about here.
It's so much more interesting too than it is up on the screen.
Yeah, and the same with the trees, you know, if you start blocking some of these things out, and you'll get these little shapes. And then you just kind of go in and, you know, you just kind of paint the shadow and blot it. I do a lot of blotting and then going back and then maybe drop another color in where that was. And it'll bleed and look kind of nice. And if you make a mistake, if you catch it right away, you can save it or incorporate it. You know, some of these blooms that you see in the sky, it's not bad. This isn't a bloom, but I mean, you can incorporate that into the top of the cloud. And it's a storm cloud now. Maybe it wasn't going to be a stormy day. Now it's a stormy day. Who cares? It's your painting. You can do whatever you want. Well, but it just gets kind of fun, you know. Yeah, it's there. You know, it just if it wasn't there, you might not notice it, but I think
On and off, but I'm always busy, but I can always, you know.
that is a great color, indigo.
I just put that on my palette a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta. Well, I just with the Phoenix Gray, because they work really well together, and the lizard crimson, those three are really good ones to mix together. Yeah. That was Phthalo blue, cerulean, a little bit of Franciana. Nope. No, I'll leave them in there, and then I do a lot of blotting, and then I'll come back in with a second blot, because a lot to make them up. So then you can get kind of you don't try and do it all at one pass. That's if you want a really liquid sky, and then you can do it. You know, they usually end up being a little weaker if you do it in one pass. You want a stronger one, you have to come back in, or time it just right and go in with a dark color. You know, so.
Are you painting on a block?
Yeah. Yep, this is a 140-pound cold press. So this is when you start putting in the details and the dark colors. I've got that masked out, it's the sky. I'll show you here.
She was doing that She's the one
So this kind of helped to, you have to kind of remember bones of a building, you know, with boards going across. If you kind of keep spaces where a board support skeleton of the building is, you know, it's a little thing, but if you put it there, it really makes it realistic. Yeah, hey, there is, it gives it another level.
Did you do all the details in the trees and on the grass with just a brush, not a pen?
Oh, there's no pen, no. No, just,
Very fine.
and some of these are spotting brushes, you know, that photo retouchers used to do.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, that's what Sharp is famous for, is photo retouch brushes. And then they make these watercolor brushes. But see, now there's a hole in the roof. So when I peel that off, it should be kind of a bluish white speck. Well, there's going to be a little bit of bleed.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's what that's like. And if it doesn't, just go back. It's just nothing ventured, nothing dangerous, you know, just. So, and the same down here. This is some stuff that's missing. So. Our little car. That car was so cool. It was perfect. They put it up on blocks, so it wasn't even sitting on the wheels. And this was in the 60s. This is like 64. And it hadn't been moved since 1952. It was a 48-year-old, it was a 1948 or 47. So, and he bought it used, but he never had a chance to drive it. And
Right, but he could have also turned this trace on the window or a light on.
so you just put this stuff down, had a little.
That's what he does. That's what he does. That's what he's talking about. But it turned out to be in reverse. If you don't want it in reverse, you hold it up to a window and trace it on the backside of the picture. Yeah.
But that's just a change.
And I like these because you really do get a lot of different colors. And then, you know, just have a little water in here. And as this gets darker too, and that kind of grays color when you add it. So,
I always bring it with the color. Now I'm beginning.
20 to $40 per painting.
and of course, everything dries better. So. But I'll come back and I'll get these boards. These are beams, and that with a little of this and a little of that, you know. And if they're too dark, blot them out. Keep adding layers. If you do it in layers, it's harder to make a mistake. If you commit yourself to one brush stroke, you know, that's great if the painting is that style. Okay, this isn't that style of painting. It's more like an oil painting. I hope it's more painted, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. I like the other style. I can't do the other style. You know, I try, and I start out, and then boom, I start putting details in, and I go, well, I just blew that. I just added too much detail, so I might as well go finish the thing. So.
When you did the background, did you mask out water, or did you just put the background in?
No, I didn't mask that thing and see where it kind of bled in there. And that's fine, you know, I mean, I do mask out once in a while. But you can see, even with this not being darkened yet, now I'm going to wash over the whole thing. So these areas will get darker too, yeah. So, but I need to have something in there to give me some contrast so I know where I'm at. And so I'll do most of the windows and I'll do first round of shadows. That's why these things take as long as they do. But hopefully that's what kind of makes it a little bit more interesting too. I remember Father Sullivan always said, you know, you usually see a little touch of Lutheran criticism in that little, and see what happens. And because red will come at you, but it doesn't. It just it reinforces. It can go too far. You know, you just want a little bit, but just it's like a little jewel. You know, it just that's something a little unexpected, and so. Okay, so here's the board that's missing, and there's the crossbar. And then here's an angle board. So it's those little things that kind of give it believability.
And then you'll glaze on top of all that with the red.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll wet it, and I'll glaze it, and I'll start blotting it up real quick, because I just want it to be in certain areas. And then as it's drying, I might get it again a little bit. Now, if the sun were here, where I was going to have a really deep shadow here, I might even do a couple brush strokes that way. It starts getting to be abstract on top, but there's so much detail there underneath, and that's what holds it together.
Yeah.
But all these things, every detailed painting, you take a little square and put it on there, it's all abstract. You know, it's amazing. You know, you're really doing an abstract painting, but it's, you know.
Frank Webb always says, you create the coat rack, which is underneath, and then all of that stuff hangs onto it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah. Well, he's a prime example. He does that really nice, simplified paintings that aren't all that simple, you know?
No, design-wise, it's surely not.
No, they're beautiful. And actually, that's what I was going to try and do here, and I thought, well, that's not how I paint, you know?
Yeah, right.
So why try faking something that I evidently wouldn't do very well? And I said, this is the first time I've ever done a demo, so.
I think there's 90% of the people that are here paint this way. 90%. Oh, yeah. So it's good to see it done.
One of my professors said once that barns are the cathedrals of the American society.
They are?
I think these barns are.
Yeah. Well, they were my castles, you know?
They're also cathedrals.
They are cathedrals, and that's whenever I go to Europe, and that we always go to cathedrals, the ruins, you know, it doesn't matter. I just love them.
I had a real problem one time. A couple of my barns that I painted burned down. I mean, after I painted them, I didn't feel like I was sort of a genius and I didn't want to paint any more barns.
So I think we'll start off again
Anyway, it's
officially.
beautiful.
Okay.
You've been running straight through, but.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to.
And is this comfortable for you the way you have it? You can't put it over your head.
No, this is fine. As long as people can
Okay,
hear
we'll
me.
start now if everybody can sit down.
What is the name placed on the second one over it that looks like a castle?
Oh, Isla Duna. Isla Duna, it's in Scotland. It's a beautiful, people actually live there. And they live in the castle, and the building off to the left is a huge home also. You know. They've done a few movies.
It's easier when it's one-on-one, isn't it, than when you've got the group and it's out in the dark.
Oh, I like it in there.
Well, yeah, you did a wonderful job. You did a You're doing good.
Good. I won't come in here to carry them on the way home. So anyway, like I was saying, if you do things in stages, it's really kind of hard to screw it up. Well, because you're working on little areas, so you screw up one little area and incorporate it into something, make it something. Only you know that you screwed it up. If you don't tell anybody, So it'll just be your secret.
Yeah, have you heard of the Daniel Smith watercolor ground?
Somebody was talking about that.
Very good.
Is it?
What it is liquid paper.
Okay, and you can paint on it?
Oh, yeah, you just paint over it,
Yeah?
over a dark passage, maybe about 6 times.
Oh, wow.
And then you just put your color right on top of that, and you even know you didn't.
I'll have to get some of that,
But get Daniel Smith.
Daniel Smith,
Yeah,
yeah.
not that other brand, I can't remember the name.
Golden.
Golden.
See, I like golden better.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, see, I think there's a repels.
So now basically all I'm doing now is just going through and adding some of these middle darts and that just to let me see what the thing's going to look like, And I always find it amazing that everything starts to pull together once you start putting these little details in. But you can kind of see why it takes me so long. I don't paint real fast.
How long did it take you to paint the clock painting?
Well, there's pretty big color swatches there. That one probably took, that was about 15 hours. Something like that. Yeah, the pairs times 2, the people. The people took the longest to paint. And the little lattice guardrail fencing that was there, I got carried away with that, and I did it all the way across, because I'm doing such a good job doing these lines. And when you're working this close and everything was good, and you stand back and go, oh my God. So then I had to scrub all that out.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
But I scrubbed it, I blotted it, I did that. So it's there, because I couldn't get it all out. But then that really works because it looks like the light coming through and you would see just this little ghost image.
I like it.
So, but,
That's the painting you got first place on, isn't it?
Yes.
yeah, that won that, and it won,
Was it Arts and Harmony?
yeah, Arts and Harmony won first place for watercolor in there.
And where?
Arts and Harmony International Show.
And in the state fair.
And the State Fair. Yeah, so this one too.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just going to keep going here. Ask questions it's easier for me to answer your things. But here's where those little lines come in handy. It just kind of tells me kind of where the boards are, because I want to plan these things out. But when you put the brush down, you're not following right there anyway. So.
What do you have planned as your dark? What color?
What color? Basically, right now I'm using Payne's Gray, Davies Gray, and a little alizarin crimson in there. and a little of the indigo. So they're kind of all mixing together, and I'll keep using those, and I'll go to more of the indigo and the Payne's gray to get it darker, and I'll throw in some of the burnt sienna just to get it closer to black. I don't want to go black. I want some life in it. So.
But after you're done with all that, then you're going to put red on it, right?
I will do the cadmium. I think I'll just use cadmium red.
Okay.
I don't think I'll use the deep. Again, it's these little breaks that you put in there that, if they're across from each other, then your mind knows that there's something behind there. And so that's your little bonus for looking at it as you figured that out. So anyway, I just keep doing that. And, as paint dries,
Is the red going to go over that?
Yep. Yep, I'll wet it down a little bit, or I'll probably just do a really wet wash, really light, and then I'll come back and maybe drop in some colors, and then I'll blot it up, because I don't want it to be a red barn. This is an old barn that the paint's faded and everything. So underneath in here, it'll be darker red, fading. There'll be some boards that'll have some more red in it. There'll be some grayer ones. There will be a shadow underneath the roof on this side, and then the rest of it will be a little bit lighter, so there is some reflected light coming up there. This side is just going to have basically these colors in there, and that's done. So that's where the sun is hitting. And the same with the roof. I'll just go in and paint that in. There's some missing boards here.
Why don't you do the dark last? Why don't you glaze the reds and colors first and then?
Because I want to embed it.
Now, explain.
I don't want it to stand out so much.
Explain embed.
Pardon?
Explain embed it, please. When you say
I want to push it back. I don't want it to be sitting on the top of the paint. I don't want it to be the only thing you see. I want it to be there, so you notice it. And I'll even go back in after that, and I'll take some dark, and I'll just put little dashes that are really dark to reinforce that, that's a whole. But I want it to be all part of the same. I don't want it to look like a serograph, where they're a silk screen print, where they're laying on top of each other, and that I want it to blend a little bit more. And who knows, maybe when I do the next little wash on there, I'll like it just the way it is, and I won't do a red, but I probably will. Just do like a red marker. I'm nothing if not faithful to the subject. But anyway, you just kind of do these things. The first of these has a tendency to be really light anyway. So, there's a sheet of corrugated metal that's lifting up.